Everybody, it's Gail, and this is Errata-Hate episode 75. And today I wanted to show you a couple of different books that I've gotten my hands on in the last few months that I think you might dig. So there are two books. First, there is Crochet Socks for the Family, which is a leisure arts booklet that I got off of Knit Picks. And then the other is Party Crochet, there we go, by Sue Whitting, I believe the name is. And this one I actually found secondhand, and I'll get into that in a minute, because it's from 2007, so it was a bit of a daredevil of a buy, but we'll talk about why in a second. Wanting to make more socks for a long time. And it's one of those things, I think about it, I look at patterns, I don't do it, I think about it, I look at patterns, etc., etc. And so finally, when I was on Knit Picks getting yarn for a different project, I thought, well, why not just get this little sock book? It looks pretty cute. And I went to Ravelry and I looked at all the patterns, and I was like, yeah, looks like it has a lot of fun ones. And the big thing, of course, being me, is I want sock patterns that I can then sort of mess with to turn into whatever I'm thinking of. So a couple of things. First of all, it's got some nice variation on socks. You got, what I always think of as sort of the standard sock, the crew sock with the upper edge there. We've got it with the wider crew sock that's worked, excuse me, I'm betting that this has worked from this top edge down. You do that and then you start making the sock. And so very similar to those. And then I also like seeing the kind of yarns people use, because I like seeing pretty yarn on a nice sock, etc. And we also have some of the more decorative ones. So you've got the shells for the shaft of the sock there. There's this sort of lacy socks for if you're feeling, extra pretty. And, it goes on like that. And so it's a lot of different designs that look like a lot of fun to make. The one problem I have is that it calls itself Socks for the Family, but only includes like 2 pairs of socks for kids, and then a set of slippers for men, and then everything else is labeled as a women's sock. And it's very unnecessarily gendered, because so many of these socks are, this is just a sock. There's nothing about this sock that says it has to be for women. They just decided it was for women, and so they call it for women. But I mean, it's a sock. And that's how I feel about a lot of these patterns, is they're just socks. They can be made for anybody. And depending on who you're making them for, maybe the lacier ones are something, a male friend would like. Maybe, or in this case, like, I look at this, and I love this sock pattern. I love this texture. I think this is gorgeous. And again, they're calling it a women's sock, and I think the only reason they're doing that is because they put this sort of ruffle at the top, which, first of all, it's just a ruffle. But second of all, just the moment you take that off, it's just a sock. And so it just bugged me a little that, it was like, oh, it's for the family. And then it's like, oh, wait, no, most of these are for the ladies, because we put ruffles and stuff on them. Or we did them in colors that we decided were feminine, and it's annoying. But I do think the patterns will be good. I think it'll be fun to make these. I think it will be especially fun to make some of the so-called women's socks for my husband, who likes a number of the designs. So that's Crochet Socks for the Family, which again I got from Knit Picks, but you could probably also go to the Leisure Arts website and grab it there as a PDF. So now on to this find, Party Crochet. So I found this secondhand for $4. And it's from 2007, and 2007 was a very interesting year if you were stitching and using patterns, because Lion Brand Fun Fur was everywhere. 800 versions of shrugs were everywhere. Ponchos of a very particular type were everywhere. It just was, That's when I think of 2007, all I see is fun fur. And so, but I really, really liked this top, and I thought, well, I'm happy to spend a few bucks on a single pattern. I mean, let's just get the book. And if I only like the one pattern, I'll make that, and I'll put the book in a little free library in the neighborhood, and someone else can, make something from it. So, going into it, I ended up just really liking a lot of the stuff in here. There's, it's a series of designs that the 2007 feel of it really comes through more in the colors than in the projects themselves. There are a couple of pieces that I know I'm just not going to make because they are fun fur, and I just don't. Fun fur and I have a very long, complicated relationship. But, the first thing I saw when I opened this, like as I was flipping through, this is a jacket made from chenille, and you use loop stitch to make it. And my very first thought was, I need it. And my best friend was flipping through and got to this page and said, "You're not making this." And I said, "Of course I'm making it." And they laughed because they figured that would actually be my answer, was of course I'm making it. There's this beautiful shrug with some beadwork. There's beadwork throughout the book, which I really like. So it's got this beadwork, and this is like a very classic shrug shape. And this is one of those where the color is very 2007. This is a very distinct fuchsia. If you look back, this is the same kind of color. Like this is a fuchsia, pinky purple that just was all over the place in 2007. And it's not a bad color, it's just that's where my brain associates it. Speaking of, here's a different variation of it for this poncho. I'm not going to make this. This is one of those designs that to me just says 2007, but just because I'm sitting here going, I would never make this, if you look at it and you think I can totally make that work, you should make it. Like, it's a lot of stuff, but it's got a lot of beautiful stuff in it. It just really does. Like this top right here, make 3 of those and there's your work wardrobe for half a week, like just stuff that can be very, very classic shapes, but with some fun built in. There's this beautiful necklace and bracelet design, just that really simple beadwork that you can do with beads and crochet, that I love because this is something I've been wanting to try out, this particular type of beading. So I like that it was in there. And then in terms of things that, looking at the yarn that they used, I see 2007, but I look at what it is and it could really be done anywhere. So this ribbon yarn was all over the place in 2007 as well. I have less of a contentious relationship with it. And, it's making this big wrap with this fringe. And all of this, again, the colorway and everything. But, imagine it as, think of your favorite bulky yarn and work it up in that colorway and with this lovely stitch pattern. And, it's a classic piece then. It's something that'll really stand the test of time. Another beautiful piece with some beadwork. And they do include beadwork instructions at the top of things, which is nice. Here is the halter that caught my eye from the cover. And to give you a sense of just what you're working with in terms of putting those sequins on, because you have to thread the yarn and then make it from there. It calls for anywhere from 2,300 to 3,300 gold sequins. So you will have to pre-thread those onto the yarn before you get to work. I believe in you. I know you can do it. Put on your favorite TV show, binge watch a little something, and go. There's also a couple of purses in here that I liked a lot. This is, speaking of beadwork, this is a project and a half. And I love it. It has a very sort of like mid-century Chanel feel, that I think would be worth me getting all those damn beads onto string so that I could bead it. I just think it's a very fun jacket. Let's see, where am I going? All right, we're getting closer. There is this dress, which I think is just gorgeous. I would not probably do the center that way just because the way I'm shaped, that's just too much stress to put in the middle of the dress. But I love this skirt, especially this big ruffle. So I would definitely be making the ruffle, if nothing else. Oh, a capelet. Aww. Again, 2007 capelets were everywhere. I think I still have one, actually. It was from Stitch and Bitch book, and it's very, very cute. Where is it? Okay, so I love this beaded evening bag. Partially because all I see is an owl. I just want to put a couple of googly eyes on it and have a beaded evening bag with like big old owl eyes. But I also love that they're using a variety of bead colors. I love it on the black. I think it's very fun. There is... Did I miss the other purse? There is another purse that I think... I always think about it as like your Easter bag. So if... Yeah, there it is. So when you're a kid and it's like Easter Sunday and you're going to church, you get the new purse. And that was a fun thought I had on that one. And then the whole book ends with this really striking little black dress, which, I mean, you go into a party, you need a little black dress. So I think it's, it's one of those books that there are pieces from it that are of the moment, which, when you're looking at old crochet books, always happens. But I think there's also a lot in here that you can work with what they've given you and just do minor things to sort of update them to make them possibly a little more classic or a little more modern. Yarn color, I think, was like the biggest concern I had. So, if you find this somewhere on a shelf, I do recommend, flipping through, seeing if you like it, and, picking it up if you saw a few things that you really like. I will try to find a link for it. And if I do find a link for it, it'll be down in the basement. But given that it's from 2007, I don't think it ever saw a reprint. It's going to be kind of a wait and see. Probably Powell's has it. So I'll link to Powell's if I can find that they have copies. But, check a few places if it interests you and see if you can dig it up. Alright, so those are, behind me, those are 2 books I thought might be your bag. If you liked anything about them, let me know. If you can think of a book you'd like me to talk about on one of my episodes, please leave a comment. I'm always looking for suggestions. I am just very bravely want to take a moment and just be thrilled that this is episode 75. This is a big deal, especially with all the changes that have gone into how I do this show and everything that's happened in 2020. Especially, I'm very glad to be here at 75. I look forward to hitting the next milestone with all y'all. And I thank you, as always, for liking what I do here and keeping up with me. And as always, if you enjoy what I do here, please like, subscribe, share, etc. And I'm going to go and do my next thing. So I will talk to you guys soon.